In today's video, I'll guide you through setting up the PCSX2 emulator so you can enjoy classic PlayStation 2 games right on your PC in stunning HD. This guide is beginner friendly, straight to the point, and I'll also cover a few things that are often left out. So if you're just getting started or want the cleanest setup possible, this one's for you. Before we dive in, here is what you will need. You will need a PCSX2 installer file or setup. This is the core software we will use. So in order to download the PCSX2 installer, what you're going to do is go to Google or any web browser that you have and type in PCSX2 download. That's enough. Then you go and look for PCSX2.net as long as you find PCSX2.net. So I'll click on that one. So if we come to the PCSX2.net website, you will see three versions. We have the latest stable, we have the latest nightly, and the previous versions. Let me explain one by one. The latest stable, this is the most tested version. It is ideal if you want maximum reliability. It is free of bugs because it has been tested. So I would recommend this. If you're a starter, you can go for this one. And if you want to download, you can choose download. Okay, better than the installer. When you click download, you get a file which is easier for you to transport maybe from one PC to another. We shall look at that later. Then next we have the latest nightly. This is updated more frequently with the latest features and improvements. It is great if you're okay with minor bugs. Then we have the previous versions. These are older versions, so you can only use them if you're having trouble with the newer versions. That's when you choose to use the older versions. You can come and pick any version you want and you download that. So I'll go back. So for this tutorial, and I know for most users, I recommend using the latest nightly build because it gives you the best compatibility and improvements. But if you prefer something that is bug-free, then you can go and download the stable version. So for this tutorial, we are going to end up going with the latest nightly. So I'm going to click download, and then you can start downloading that. Next, you will need to download WinRAR or 7-zip. This is an extractor that we are going to use to extract our zipped file. If you have Windows 11, you can just right click and you can still extract. But for the case of people who have Windows 10, we can go and download 7-zip or WinRAR. Now, in order to download 7-zip, you will have to go to Google Chrome and type 7-zip download. Then you can go and download the 7-zip. You can choose any that you want depending on your PC specifications. Then you click and download. Next, we have the BIOS file. This is required to run games. Without the BIOS, then the PCSX2 emulator cannot boot or run any games. But due to YouTube policies, I can't show you how to get it. But there are so many sources of information these days. You can go and make some research, or you can use your own PS2 BIOS. So now once we have finished getting all these requirements, we can get started with this. So what we are going to do now, we are going to install our 7-zip. I hope you have installed that already. If you have not installed, please install it. Then once you're done, you're going to go and right click on each of these folders or games that we have. Okay. Then you can come and show more options. Then you come and look for 7-zip and click extract to PCSX2, the same folder. So we shall extract that. We shall get a folder like this one. Then you also come and do the same to your BIOS setup. So I'll just come to this BIOS file, right click, show more options. Then I'm going to go to 7-zip and then I'm going to say extract to PS2 BIOS. So I'll have this file here. So these are the files we are going to need so far. Then you can go ahead and maybe keep this one or still download them. It's up to you. So now once we are done with that, we are going to go and open up our PCSX2 folder. Now, before we start running our emulator, we need to create what we call a portable mod. What is a portable mod? Well, by default, the PCSX2 stores settings and save files in your Windows Documents folder. That means that everything here, the cheats, the covers, the snapshots are going to be stored within your Windows Documents folder. That's the normal mode. Then for the portable mode, we change that from the Documents folder to our folder where we have the same setup. This is the folder, the same folder where we have each and everything that we want. So it makes it easier for us in that in case we need to move our file, maybe we want to transfer this to another PC, we take it with our settings. We just have to copy this folder and take it to another computer, and it is still going to work with all our settings, with all our saved data, all the snapshots, everything is going to be still working. That's the difference between the portable mode and the default mode. So now we are going to create a portable mode. Now, in order to set up the portable mode, you're going to come back to our folder. Then you're going to come and click on View, click Show, then come and look for File Name Extensions. We need to enable the file name extension. So I'm going to click on this one. So now you can see that the file names are having extensions .exe, .dla, all these. We need to see this extension. Some of you may not have the extension showing, so make sure that you have that state. Then when you're done, you're going to right click anywhere within the folder. Then you're going to say new. Then you can come and look for text document. So you can see now we have new text document .txt. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to first change that to become portable. So we shall name it portable. Make sure the spelling is right, portable. Then when you're done, we need to come and remove this extension txt, because the txt means it's a document, but this is not going to be a document. So we can take that txt and put ini. Please make sure it is like this, portable.ini. Make sure I do not have portable.ini then .txt. That is going to be wrong. If you have something like this one, this is not correct. It is supposed to be portable.ini. Even the icon is going to change. Okay, they're going to do that. I'm going to click yes. Then you see that we're going to have a different icon. Okay, now that is going to be called portable.ini. Now we have finished creating our portable mod. Now the next step we are going to do, we are going to right click and then click on new. Then we are going to create another folder. This time this folder is going to be called my games. This is a folder where we are going to store our games. Remember that we want to keep it portable, so it is easier for you to move from one PC to another PC. Maybe your computer has a problem, maybe you want to create space, anything, whatever reason. So when we are done with that, let us now start. So when you're going to come and look for PCSX2, this one which has application, then open that one up. So now they bring us to the setup. So they're going to come and look for the language. You can choose any language you want, but by default, they're going to choose the system language. So I'll stay with the system language. Then we have different themes. You can come and pick any theme that you want. Okay, so there are different themes. You can choose any theme that works for you, anything that you prefer. I'll go with that theme. So I will enable the automatic updates to keep on getting updates. So when you're done, you click next. Now we have to come and set up our BIOS image. And they're saying for legal reasons, you must obtain a BIOS from an actual PS2 unit. So I told you how to go and find out of getting your BIOS. You can go and Google. There's a lot of information out there. So what we do when we come back to our folder where we have the PCX2 setup, if you look at this one, the moment we run this application, this PCSX2 application, different folders are created. So now we have a folder which is called BIOS, which is created automatically. Now within this folder called BIOS is where we are supposed to keep our BIOS images by default. So if I open the BIOS here like this, I'll come and make sure that I paste my BIOS image within that folder. The BIOS can have a different extension, but mine is going to be .bin. Okay. Now when you are done, I'll go back to that. So that means that the BIOS has to be within this folder for BIOS. So now when we come back to the setup for BIOS image, once you're done like keeping your BIOS within that same folder, you can come and click refresh list. Then the BIOS is going to show up under this. But in case you don't mind, you can still have the BIOS in a different folder that you want, which is okay. But remember, we are trying to look at the goal of portability, the portable mode, where we are keeping everything in the same folder. So now once we have the BIOS set up, we're going to go and click next. Now we have the game directories set up. So we are going to scan for the different games that we have, and then they have to show under this directory. Now we can have different game formats. You can have .bin, you can have .iso, you can have .cso. All these files are accepted. You can maybe choose the compressed ones if you want. So remember that we created a folder which we called My Games. So that folder that we called My Games, the intention was for us to make sure that this folder contains all the lists of our games we have. All the games we have can be stored within this folder of My Games. Now, this makes it easier for us to remember. I told you there's what we call the portability mode. In case you want to move maybe your game folder from one computer to another, you can still save everything under the My Games folder. But if you have another directory or another, like maybe another storage site for your games, it is still okay. So we're going to have this one and we're going to save our game into this My Games. So I'll drop My Games into this folder. So in My Games folder, I'm going to have this game. So you can have as many games as you want. So mine is I'm going to have God of War 2 in this folder. So once I'm done with that, I'll go back to the setup. Now under the game directory setup, once you're done, you can come and add that directory for the game. So I'm going to click on add. Then I'll come and look for that same storage where I saved my game, which is going to be under My Games. So I'll click that one. Then I'm going to say select folder. Okay, then I'm going to ask, would you like to scan the directory? Okay, like what it means, like they're going to scan this folder with its subdirectories. Maybe if I have a folder and inside that folder I have another folder and inside that folder I have another folder. So they scan all those folders. Okay, so you can click yes, depending if you have, which is okay. So now after that, I'm going to have and click next. But remember, you can have different directories for the game. It doesn't matter. You can have different, maybe some of the games are stored in documents, others are stored in maybe local disk E, others are stored maybe in local disk F, others are stored in the downloads folder. You can have all these directories here. It's okay. So when you are done, I'm going to click next. So now, once I'm done with that, we are going to go to the controller setup. So I'm using a PS5 controller, DualShock. So under that, you can see we have the controller type. So if I click here, they will show you that we have DualShock 2, okay, because I'm having a DualShock controller. But we can still set up another controller if you want. Maybe you have more than one controller, you can come and set it up. We shall look at controllers later. But for now, you can connect your controller. Then when you're done, you can come and click automatic mapping. Okay. Then you come and choose the controller that you have connected. Now mine is a DualSense controller. So I'm going to click here and I say DualSense controller. So it is going to be mapped automatically. But along the way, I'll show you how we can do manual mapping. Maybe your controller is not DualSense. Maybe your controller is not Xbox. Then I'll show you how we can do that one. But for now, just come and pick your controller from this list for automatic mapping. Then you come and select it. When you are done, let us continue. If you have another controller, do the same for the second controller. So if you're done, you're going to click next. So now they're saying that the setup is complete. So I'll click finish. Okay, so when you have finished, so currently I'm seeing that I have maybe to make some updates. It doesn't show up all the time. Maybe this time I have updates. If you have, you can download and install. But for the case of this, I'll just skip the update so that we can continue. So now if I come here, you can see that now we are having this. They're showing this is my game that I have in my games folder, which is God of War 2. So we're going to go and look at some settings. I'm going to click on settings here, then I'm going to interface. So now we're going to focus more on the graphics settings for the start, then we shall look at other settings. So under the graphics, we are going to have different settings. So we have render. Okay, let me start from the renderer settings. Now, what is rendering? Rendering controls how the PCSX2 renders graphics using your CPU or your GPU. It controls how the CPU or the GPU is going to render your graphics. If I click under render, you can see that we have different options. So we have two types of rendering. We have the software rendering and then we have the hardware rendering. What is the difference? Software rendering is going to use your CPU to render graphics. The CPU controls everything for the rendering. It chooses the best settings according to your CPU. Then hardware rendering is going to use your GPU to render graphics. Now, which one is better? In case you choose software rendering, you're going to have, maybe you're trying to troubleshoot something, or maybe you have some bugs and you're trying to work out something. I've used software rendering before. I've used it. It's so good. Like you can play games with it if you choose software rendering, and it is bug free. Another thing it has, but it is so slow. So some games may play well, others may not play best. Then what is hardware rendering? Hardware rendering, we're going to focus on using GPU, and we have Vulkan, OpenGL, then we have the Direct3, D11 and 12. So among the hardware rendering, which one is the best option? If you have the latest PC or if your PC is modern, then you can choose Vulkan. Vulkan is for those people who have PCs which are modern or the current PCs. It is going to give you the best overall performance if your system is modern. Now you see that if I select Vulkan and I come to my adapter, we have settings where we are going to have the GPUs within your PC, or that if you have different GPU, it is going to be showing up under the adapter. So you can come and pick what GPU do you prefer to use. People who have dedicated GPUs, you find that maybe you have the Intel, then down you have maybe like the NVIDIA, something like that. So you can choose the GPU that you prefer to use with the Vulkan rendering. Now, if I come to this, we also have OpenGL, then we have Direct3D 11 and 12. Now, the Direct3D 11 and 12 is very good. It gives you some nice performance, and it is also very good at being compatibility. You can either choose that one if you want compatibility as your main goal. Okay, it's the same you choose because it is based on Microsoft. When you choose the Direct3D and you come under here, you find that you have the Microsoft Basic render driver, but do not choose this one. Always go for the graphics card that you have instead of Microsoft. Okay. So you can also choose that if you want. Then we have OpenGL. OpenGL is best for accurate and bug-free. If you don't want any bugs, then you can also go for OpenGL. And if you check OpenGL, we do not have any adapter here. Like we don't have options for choosing. This is because the OpenGL API is going to base on your CPU. Like the CPU is going to choose what is the best graphics to use at this time. And most of the time they choose the default like the default GPU in your settings. So maybe in case you have maybe an NVIDIA and you feel like maybe you have an external GPU that you want to use, you can go to your settings and set that as your default. Then you can come and choose OpenGL. Then the OpenGL is going to use your dedicated graphics that you choose. Okay, so if you have modern PCs, go for this. If you want bug-free, OpenGL. You can do anything you want. You can try all of them out and see it is okay. You can even try them during game play. So for me, I'll choose OpenGL. Then full screen mode, that one is borderless. You can leave that one. Then we have aspect ratio. We have different. Then we have the widescreen. You can choose widescreen, like for modern monitors, if you want to have a widescreen view. You can go for that one. But that standard one is 4:3. That is aspect ratio, the standard one for the PS2. So if you go for widescreen, some games are going to look a bit stretched, maybe. They may look somehow weird. But some games have patches. I'll talk about the patch. Some games have patches, like if I choose, maybe I can have still standard. If I want, I can still have this one. But if I come under here, you can see we have apply widescreen patches. So if I click apply, that means that all the games that have patches for widescreen are going to have widescreen enabled. For instance, if I go to this game, I have God of War here and I click on the God of War, right click, then I go to properties. If you go under patches, you can see that we have a patch for widescreen. So if you want, you can enable this. It will always start in widescreen. But the fact that I enabled it in the previous screen that we had, it is easier for me to always start the game without having to enable the patch. Okay, now let us continue. So, other settings I'll talk about. I'll go to rendering and look at other settings. Next, we have the internal resolution. So if you check an internal resolution, this controls how sharp the game appears. Okay, it is going to increase those graphics to make them look so sharp. Remember, by default, the PS2 graphics may look blurry, like they may not, they're not so nice. Like, but if you adjust the rendering, then you're going to have something that is so good. So the internal resolution, we have different options. Okay, so how do you know what is the best internal resolution for my monitor or for your screen? How do you choose the best? And this is a tactic I always use. If you look at this, we have different numbers, so it may be hard for you to choose the best. So what do? Go to your desktop, right click on your desktop, then go to display settings. So scroll down under display settings, then look for display resolutions. Under the display resolution, I'll click here. You can see I have different resolutions, but I'll go for the one which has recommended. Now the recommended one is the one that is by the system thinks that the recommended one is the best for my monitor. So the recommended one is going to be 1920 to 1080. Yours may be different from mine because we have different display resolutions. So I'll choose this one, which is already recommended. Then I'll come back to my settings. Then I'm going to go to, again, internal resolutions. Now I know that I have the 1080. So if you check and see, let me try to make this go up. If you check and see under the internal resolutions, I want it to, I don't know why it is like that. Let me maximize the screen. Okay, under internal resolutions, we have different, okay, resolutions. So I'm having native as the default one, but then I have the 1080, okay, the 1080 for my screen. So you can see I have 1080, which is going to be X. But your screen may have something different, so you can check and see if these numbers are matching with the recommended one. That is going to be the best setting. Now, what happens, assuming I have 1080? So what happens if I set a resolution that is higher than my screen? Okay, if I set a resolution that is higher than my screen, maybe I choose like 18 or 14. Yes, it is. Does it work? Maybe it may work or it may not work, but it may, once it is working, it is going to put a lot of stress on your GPU, which we do not want. It is going to stress out your GPU. Okay, so always go for that. If you want to a little bit, you can maybe try this one, which is a little bit above or below. You still get the same settings. Okay, that is rendering. So I'm going to choose 1080. Then the next setting we have texture filtering. Okay, that one is okay. You can leave it there like that. No problem with that. Maybe I'll talk about the anastrophic filtering. Now, this one improves the texture sharpness when viewed from different angles. When you're looking at different things, maybe you're looking at a wall, maybe you're looking at maybe grass, but you're viewing it from a different angle, it is going to improve the sharpness. Okay, so the best choice can be 8x or 16x. So I'm going to choose 16x. Okay, if I have a strong GPU, 16x is going to work for me. If you think your computer is not that like, okay, maybe you don't have those GPUs or you feel like your computer will not manage, you can still go for 8x. It is okay, but I'll choose 16x for this. Okay, next I'll talk about map mapping. Okay, it's enabled, that one there's no need. Texture, then I'll go to post processing. Okay, under this we have the anti-aliasing. Now, anti-aliasing removes what we call jagged edges. Let me show you what I mean. Now, if you look at this picture on the left, okay, I try to get a comparison. So we have aliased and aliasing. Now, if you look at these edges here, the edges are jagged. We call it jagged, okay? These edges are jagged, okay? So if I choose to go for anti-aliasing, I'm removing these jagged edges. I'm trying to smoothen the edges for my image. I'm trying to make it smooth, okay, to try and reduce the anti-aliasing effect. Now you find that you have different settings, maybe depending on the version you're having. But for my version, I'm going to be having FXAA. Okay, some of you are going to have maybe MSAA. Now, if you choose MSAA, then you don't choose FXAA. If you choose FXAA, then you can leave MSAA. So make sure that you don't mingle them. Unfortunately, there's no way I can show you because I only have FXAA. So I'm going to come and tick this one, FXAA. That is going to be the choice I choose to work on my anti-aliasing. Okay, basically, I think those are the settings we have. We can talk about the filters, noise, okay, OSD. I have another video that I'm working on that is going to be basically for only graphics. We shall go through each and everything here to get you the best graphics to get you started. Next, once you're done with all these settings, let us go to the memory card section. Now, under the memory card, you can see that we have these different options. So what is a memory card in the PCSX2? So the memory cards in the PCSX2 work just like the really PS2 memory cards. They store your game saves, the settings, and some additional data. If you look at the real PS2, this one, you can see that we have memory card 1, and we also have memory card 2. So it is the same thing that the PCSX2 is trying to emulate. So if I come back, the memory card, you can see that we have this slot 1 and slot 2. So we are going to come and create a memory card. So I'm going to click create. Then by default, we shall look at the 8 MBs. Okay, that is the most compatible ones, which most of the games are going to use. So shall select 8 MBs. So you can give it any name you want. You can even call it my saves. Any name is fine. Then when you finish, you click OK. Then the memory card my saves has been created. Okay. Then you can see it is here. Now, When we are done, we need to assign this to a slot. Like I showed you that real PS2 has 2 slots. So which slot do we have to save? 2. So we are going to save this to slot number 1 because most of the games are always going to read slot 1. So I'll right click here and I'm going to say use for slot 1. Then I'm going to have that as simple as that. If you want, you can create another one and then you assign it to slot number 2. But I'll use slot 1. And it is also possible to move these saves that you have to your actual PS2. You can do the switching. You can also have saves from the PS2 and maybe you want to continue playing them from the PSX2. Okay, so you can still do the same. You can go and look for a tool called MyMC. That tool can help you to move different saves from maybe one place to another, maybe from the PS2 console to your saved memory card slots on your PCSX2. That is it for saves. So by default, the folder is going to be in our PCSX folder. Now, when we are done with the memory cards, let us go and look at the game. Before we go to the game, I think most of the options have been covered up. Emulation, we need nothing. This is okay. The BIOS, we finished setting that. You can have more than 5 BIOS if you want. You can have different BIOSes and you choose one every time, which one is going to work with the emulator. The game list, you can also add different game lists if you want. Then the interface, that is also fine for that. So let us close this, or I can just minimize that. Now, let us come back to this setting. So if you come to this setting, we have our game. Okay. Now, if you check that game, it also has its own settings. If you right click, you can get different settings that you want. But we are going to look at adding the skins for our games to make them look so nice. So if I click, this is the list view, then this is going to be the grid view. So if I click here, you can see that my game has no screen. It's just like a basic. It does not have that wallpaper that we need. Okay. So now when you're creating these wallpapers, we get the actual wallpapers, like the covers for these games that we are going to look at. Now, in order to add covers to your games, you have to come to this website that I'll attach the link in the description. This is a GitHub. So now, when you come to this link, we have different covers. Now, remember, we have 2 types of covers. We have the 3D covers, and then we have the default covers. So you can try out and see which one is going to work out for you. By default, all the games that we have, they have serials, okay? That is why we have different codes for each game. Now, when you're downloading this is going to apply to all the games that you have under your game folder. You don't have to choose. It will be by default. Like any game you add, it is going to come with its own cover because this list contains almost all covers for most games. Even if you want, you can come and pick for a specific game. If you want, you can come and go through and look for a specific game cover. So what we are going to do, we are going to come and click this one for default covers. If you want a 3D cover, you can go for this link. If you want the default covers, then you can go for this link. So I'm going to come and copy this one here for the default covers. Then I'm going to come back, go to my settings again. Then settings. Then I'll come here and then choose. If you check tools, okay, under the tool section, then I'm going to say cover downloader. So I'll click on the cover downloader, then I'll come and paste here. Then I'm going to come and say start. So once I'm done, I'll close that. So you can see that now my game has different cover compared to the default one. This is the default one. Like this is the cover, which is just a skin. But if you want, you can also have a 3D cover. It's the same process. Copy the link, you come and paste here. Okay. Now, in case you have covers already and you want maybe to change, you have to first go to this folder where we save the covers and delete that. Then you come and add in a new one. So I think that is it for most parts. This can get you started. That is all the basics we have. The rest, in case you have a question, you can drop it in the comment section. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So our game setup has been finished. Then you can start your game if you want, and your game is going to start. So if the render is not set to automatic, you can see that they're trying to show you that. Okay, all my settings are here. OpenGL. So everything is working according to how we selected it.